Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to my poetry corner, and welcome to a new year. Today, we're going to talk about the ability to read. Yes, let's go. Hey, I know you were asking about Madame Lama. Madame Lama is still here. You just need to go to YouTube because the picture is bigger there. The frame is bigger, and you get to see Madame Lana. Yes, we have Madame Lama, and we have Madame Lana. She used to be a puppy. Now she's a big dog. But I love the moment when she fell in love with this rose. Anyway, the ability to read. I'm pretty sure that in the past 24 hours you have read messages, most probably saying, hey, Happy New Year, or comments. Or maybe you decided that this year is the year where you're gonna read. That's your resolution. You picked up a book and you read at least a couple of pages. Maybe. Anyway, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the ability to read. However, there are many challenges. For instance, something very interesting about reading is that if you want to read something needs to be written before. When we're trying to write something, let's say a book, and we're trying to describe characters, we put a lot of effort in conveying the intention, the personality, the identity of these characters. And even though all that effort created like really fat books, we still need to understand the context of when it was written. If we, for example, go back 10 years ago, we will probably understand most of the content of what was written. But if we go back 50, 100, 200 years ago, even if we try to read the same language, we are facing something very different. And if we go 2000 years ago, we need people to comment on the meaning of words and then the meaning of the meaning, and you get the point. So yeah, when we write, although we do our best to communicate our feelings and our thoughts, we miss a little bit, if not a lot, of what we want to communicate. And we don't need to go back in time, to pick up things that were written years ago from different generations to see how language in a written form is lacking something. We can pick something that was written in English by somebody who is not an English native speaker. And the poem that I'm going to read today is about that. It's about the fact that you write a poem, and this is a personal experience. I've written poems that were understood by people who speak certain languages, but were not understood by other people because the references, the metaphors, the images are not familiar in their languages. And although they are in English, they tend to use the structure of their languages to understand poetry and to understand what they're reading. And this is normal. Happens to me all the time. In fact, the poem that I'm going to read is called Let Me Read It. Let me read it again. Sometimes I read it the way I see it, the way I would use the words, and I am wrong. And I have to read it again properly, trying to connect with the person who has written it. And this is the same for comments, for messages, because although we master the skill of writing, maybe we're still lacking a little bit, or maybe a lot, skill of reading. We are still selfish trying to read it from our perspective, forgetting the fact that it was written by someone else. Let's get poetic. Let me read it. Let me read it again. Let me read it in the first place. Let me remove the filters of years of living, the answers that I keep believing, the words with my personal meanings. Let me remove the accent of my own voice and acknowledge that these are your words. Let me first make that choice. The choice to read what you wrote using your accent and your tone, using the context of your culture and from your language, the structure. Yes, 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 yes. Things didn't make sense. At first, I read your words and I felt tense, but I looked for common ground and I found the memories of your sound. So, let me add the gestures of your hands, because that's how I understand where your irony stands. Let me add the silence between lines, between words, the pauses that defines the intonations of your ideas and your rhymes. Let me read it again. Let me read it in the first place. Let me read it again. Let me read it with your voice in the first place. I still don't fully agree. Yet now, what you meant, I can see. Well, now you know. Every time we write, we do our best, and I think we're missing a little bit. That's why I always believe that 50% of the poems that I write are written by me, and 50% are filled by whoever is written them. Well, let's try to read. And I think if we try to read better comments, messages, news, maybe we can achieve a better world. Maybe. Maybe that could be a New Year's resolution. We will see this year as something that we have to learn how to read. Until next time, and enjoy some tea.